Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and we talk about incidents in pop culture to see if those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, I did my rant earlier today in regards to the death peddlers. So if you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. But I'm up now. And again, I may be late to a party, but I start to think and I'm starting to ask questions. And you all let me know, are these questions that you all are asking, or am I, as a casual viewer of Marvel Cinematic Universe, DCEU, the DCU, whatever you call it, anything that has to do with superhero movies, you let me know whether or not I am on a certain track or off a certain track. Again, I'm a casual viewer, so your input as fans of these franchises, make perfect sense. So earlier today, I talked about why it was so important to recast Challa, and my view of what happened in this quest in regards to I don't know, just basically folk running around here, the peddlers running around here. We've got to honor Chadwick. And they believing that honoring Chadwick is saying that no other actor in the world could play T'Challa. We've got to figure out his, you know, because as I thought about it, I remember people talking about wearing the white because that's going to be the funeral. It, anyway, let me get out of there. So my question in this video is recast T'Challa dead? And not dead in the sense of people wanting uh, T'Challa to be recast, but dead in the sense that the MCU has moved on from T'Challa. So listen. When Chadwick Boseman died, one of the things that was interesting to me is how Kevin Feige uh, postured himself in regards to that, because he left it up to Nate Moore and Ryan Coogler. As we can remember, Ryan Coogler had already written a script for Black Panther 2 that had to do with T'Challa. And once Chadwick Boseman's untimely death, that particular script was rearranged and changed to be what we know as the iteration of the Wakanda Forever, right? So, with that, I've noticed a couple of things. Now, I'm going to go back. What I noticed back at that particular time, Kevin Feige wanted to be hands off, so to speak, in regards to what happened with T'Challa. And he made several responses in the media by saying, I'm going to leave it up to Nate, I'm going to leave it up to Ryan Coogler. But I want to take you back even before that, even before Chadwick Boseman passed away, when we started talking about Black Panther. It feels like uh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was not really invested in T'Challa. They were okay with T'Challa being a side character in someone else's movie, but I do not think that they were as invested with T'Challa being a major character within his own movie and a major character within the expanse of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it seems like, and you all let me know if I'm wrong on this, but it seems like Chadwick Boseman's death gave them an out where they weren't going to feel like they wanted to invest in this character. Now, granted, Black Panther made a lot of money. I think it grossed over $1 billion. So the money, money talks and BS walks. So the money that was made from this Black Panther movie gave credence that yes, this type of character with a good storyline, with a good plot, with a good director, with all the accoutrements that comes with a good movie, Black Panther was something that you would invest in. But I think that Chadwick Boseman's death gave them an out. Because listen to just follow me here. Why I think that recast T'Challa might be dead. Number one, Nate Moore. Ryan Coogler is the writer, the director, but Nate Moore was, from what my understanding of his position, he was the executive over that and he was making sure that everything ran smoothly. In my other video, I could not understand why someone would just in essence tank their job, but that's what they did. When they decided that they were going to kill off T'Challa and talk about the mantle can belong to whomever the mantle can belong, they pretty much sealed their fate in regards to their position in the MCU. Because now, my comic book people, again, I'm a casual person, but correct me if I'm wrong. But Black Panther had the ability to be able to introduce a whole set of characters within this universe. Because if I'm wrong, let me know. But didn't Black Panther run with the Fantastic Four? The Black the Black Panther could have introduced them in a way that wouldn't be so as cheesy and uh, awkward as past films have introduced the Fantastic Four. My other reason why I'm thinking that recast T'Challa might be dead, one of the things that I mentioned in my last video was the fact that Coogler is now on Disney Plus. And I said to you all, that seems like a demotion. But follow me here. He is producing movie, television series that are side movies, or there's a word for it, but it escapes me right now. Um, Offshoots of the Black Panther. So now he is telling stories about everything else but Black Panther. And if you think about it, he never really did have a chance to tell a story about T'Challa being king. T'Challa making decisions, good, bad, or indifferent, about Wakanda. Never had that opportunity to tell that story. Never did tell that story. I am so curious about the screenplay that he had written before he realized that Chadwick Boseman was going to be too sick to play the role, because there was a screenplay. But now you have Coogler on Disney Plus telling every story except for Black Panther. And on my last video, who asked for that? I don't know anybody who's asked for that, but who asked for that? You're talking about every story outside of Black Panther, who is the protector of Wakanda. You're telling all kinds of stories, but you're not telling the Black Panther story. Interesting. You can tell that the MCU is moving from Black Panther stories in the movies. You don't hear of him. Even with Wakanda Forever, You had that villain of Namor, which could have been so much more powerful had T'Challa been there. And now that I'm thinking about it, because this just hit me in my head, how is it that T'Challa took the heart-shaped herb, but then he dies of some mysterious illness that Wakanda can't cure? How was he getting this illness when he had taken the heart-shaped herb? That gave him healing powers that were exponential. So, what kind of disease would have taken T'Challa out like that, knowing that he had consumed the heart-shaped herb? Because you remember, Nakia uh, got a flower before Killmonger had all of them burnt out. And then here's my question too. You mean to tell me with the powers that that heart-shaped herb gave you, it was so fragile that it could not withstand a fire? I'm just asking questions. I don't know everything. I'm just asking questions. So my comic book people, I want y'all to let me know. I just feel like they were not. I think that the MCU and Kevin Feige were not invested in the Black Panther movie or series. They did it because they wanted to. They felt like they had to kowtow to the interest of it, but they were really blindsided by the money making capacity that that movie had. They were blindsided by the worldwide uh, good favor, goodwill to that story, even in places where they thought it was not going to compute, where it was not going to fly, like places like China and Japan, all those different types of places where they thought that those types of stories weren't going to fly, they ended up flying. But now what we see is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe dangled a carrot to Ryan Coogler and said, "Hey, you know, your production company can produce a lot of different movies for our Disney Plus uh, series. So let's think about that for a minute." Though, again, I said before that may be great for Ryan Coogler and his company, but think about it. If you just sit and think about it, he had more he had a lot an expansive ability to make more money, particularly on the back end if he negotiated his contract correctly. He would have had more ability to make more money from Black Panther, uh, Black Panther 2, the story that he had originally written, and then to 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 end out the trilogy with the Black Panther 3. So you're looking at if he had had a contract to where he had made money on the back end, you're talking about someone who had the ability to make upwards toward 30 and $40 million on 3 movies. But now you have been relegated to Disney Plus, which makes its money on subscriptions. And we all have seen and we have heard all the pundits talk about the fact that subscription based entities are hemorrhaging money. So here he is on Disney Plus, probably making, I'm just going to give a ballpark figure, probably making maybe $5 million for his production company, $10 million for his production company, versus the tens of millions that you could have made off of 3 movies in regards to Black Panther. And that could have solidified Black Panther as a powerful character within the MCU. Also would have made you much more money and be lucrative. But again, I've never seen two men, Nate Moore and Ryan Coogler, talk themselves out of a job. But that's exactly what they did. And so I asked again earlier, I said, who asked for this? Nobody. And I talked about the bigger perspective of all of this. You know what this reminds me of on this level? This reminds me of uh, when Black folk were marching in the streets for George Floyd, and they were asking for um, a level of respect in regards from the police, making sure that the police don't kill you in the street for any odd reason, all of these different things. And at some point when we were talking, Black folks were talking about reparation and all these big, huge issues. And then we were asking for reparations and fair policing. And then you know what we get? A Juneteenth holiday. Though Juneteenth is very important, it is something that our kinfolk in Texas have been celebrating through the eons. Nobody asked for that to be a national holiday. People are going to accept it, but who asked for a national holiday when we're talking about reparations and fair policing? And that's what this reminded me of. People were asking people to recast T'Challa. It has fallen on deaf ears, but you know what we get? We get some Disney Plus shows uh, featuring the people of Wakanda, the war dogs, running around here trying to find out who has the vibranium. Stories about quote unquote Black Panther that has no Black Panther in it. What we get Ironheart that has nothing to do with Black Panther, but she was introduced in Wakanda Forever. Nobody asked for that. So to me, the show about the war dogs and Ironheart is basically our Juneteenth. So that tells me, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but it just feels like to me that they are just not interested in what people have to say in regards to recast a child. And nothing was shown better to me than this Wakanda Forever. I think I'm just gonna tell it. I thought that Wakanda Forever was the worst movies in the MCU. Number one, you killed off the character T'Challa in the show. He dies of some mysterious illness that he got while he has ingested the heart-shaped herb. Made no sense. Made no sense. We not only got T'Challa's funeral, they killed off Queen Ramunda's, and we got her funeral too. So you got a twofer. You got two funerals in one movie. You didn't have a character that was strong enough to carry that movie. And it's my, I am not knocking the acting abilities of Letitia Wright. I am not knocking the acting abilities of Winston Duke. I'm not knocking the acting abilities of uh, Angela Bassett or the lady that played Denai that played Okoyo. I'm not knocking Lupita Nyong'o. I'm not knocking it, but those characters that they played were not strong enough to be able to carry the movie. Even the villain in the movie wasn't even strong enough to carry the movie without the Black Panther. And I think that that was probably reflected in the box office numbers and in the box office monies. I'm quite sure it made a lot of money. I don't think it made more money than Black Panther, but I'm quite sure it made a lot of money because, the Death Peddlers went. But all I'm saying is, with the way things are going, the way Nate Moore has moved from, I'm quite sure that he's probably still producing and all those things in regards to any of the iterations of spin-offs. That's what it's called. Spin-offs for Black Panther. But it seems like once you have been relegated down to Disney Plus, there is just no iteration that's going to come up where Black Panther is going to come out. Because the last we saw, Black Panther, T'Challa has a son with Nakia living in Haiti, and that young boy is probably 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. So unless there's some kind of time jump, we're not going to get a T'Challa. But we shouldn't have to have that version of T'Challa. We should have that version that we saw. Was it Civil War and in Black Panther? So to me, the way that they're moving, y'all, I'm thinking that they have just decided that the recast T'Challa movement is just going to stay on deaf ears. So what do you think we ought to do? Because it's a precarious situation because you can boycott all of those iterations and then they're like, well, see, they don't like the movies. They don't want to support the movies. Or do we need to support other entities, uh, other comic books? Because I understand like Static Shock is supposed to come out, and that's with DC. Uh, all of these other entities. Tell me what you think it is because I'm just feeling like the way they're moving over there at Marvel and the way that they're moving in the MCU is like the recast T'Challa movement is falling on deaf ears. Anybody know Nate Moore? Anybody know Ryan Coogler? Anybody can sit down and facilitate a meeting with these two young men and have them understand that they can move forward, they can move the culture forward if they would just sit down and think and listen to the people that are talking about recast T'Challa instead of it being an individual type thing where Ryan Coogler and his company is going to make money and Nate Moore and whatever he's got going on to make money. Is there anybody that can sit down with these young men and explain to them the importance of these types of characters uh, for Black folk? Is there anybody? I think there's hope. I think you can do it. I just think that those people need to be sat down and talked to. Also, I think that Kevin Feige needs to be sat down and talked to. Because clearly, his vision in regards to what's going on with the MCU is a little cloudy, is a little bland. And I think that a soft reboot of Black Panther would be a good palate cleanser and get his taste buds working right again. All right, people. I'm getting to the point where I'm rambling, and I don't want to do that with you. Tell me what you all think. Let's chop it up in the comments. I had a great time with you all chopping it up in the comments on this last video. Let's chop it up down in the comments and tell me what you think. All right. Again, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please share this video on all different platforms that you're on. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell your coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos, child. And as always, people, bye bye.